What happens when the gang all grows up? Let me describe the situation. I have a group of friends that I've known for forever. It consists of my brother, Jay, and Sam. We used to play a lot of D&D when we were younger. My bro, who is a few years older, introduced me and my chums to 3.5. It was great. We always had a lot of fun, and eventually when Big Bro moved on, me and the boys would try to play some D&D with a few other friends who would pop in and out of our tabletop adventures. We always had a blast role-playing and leveling up and getting out some teenage angst. Unfortunately, we all grew up and apart. We still see each other every once in a while. Big Bro has a family. Jay is living the bachelor life, with maybe a little too much partying. Sam is married to a woman who really looks down on him wasting his time with me and my nerdy tendencies. I'm married as well and don't have much time for D&D, but one day we all hung out and someone floated the idea of rolling the dice once more. We all agreed that I would run a campaign, where my bro and Jay would come over and Sam would Skype in. Me, Sam, and bro took to it in a frenzy, messaging back and forth about potential backstories and ideas we had. Jay was very silent, but whatever, he's more of a in-the-moment type of guy anyway. I read a few chapters of The Tomb of the Dragon Queen, I flesh out a few homebrew NPCs, and I am in that amazing moment of world building that all DMs understand, when your brain ignites and ideas begin to create and build in your mind. The night comes and I finally have the night planned out with both my bro and Jay being shift workers and Sam. We are all set. Jay and I had planned for him to come an hour early to work on his character. He's running a bit late, so me and Sam are just chatting on Skype. Jay shows up. He has already had a few, but that doesn't matter. I'm in high spirits. I have snacks, beers, and a whole night of laughs and adventure ahead of us, so I quickly help him make a character, and away we go. Bro is an hour late as he has to put his kids to bed before he comes over, because his wife couldn't possibly do that on her own for one night. But anyway, it's all good, and we begin playing. It kind of stinks that Sam can't be here in person, but it's fine at first. 10 minutes into the adventure, and Jay has to have a smoke break, the first of many, and we wait for him to come back so I can continue. A little while later, as we are in a battle trying to save the town from an army of bandits, Sam's wife sits down beside him and begins talking with him. I'm a little distracted by this, but I go on trying to ignore it. Bro is on his phone the entire time anyone else is in battle, and only puts it down when it's his turn, often asking where everyone is. Jay goes outside and smokes a J. Sam is talking with his wife. My brother, who has been here for 2 hours on his phone, says he has to go home to bed. Okay, see ya. Jay is now too drunk and out of his mind to remember any NPCs, and he straight up punches an important dwarf that is in the keep because he was bored. Sam is muted half the time while speaking with his wife. The session ends and I feel like it just isn't the same anymore. The group I once loved playing with didn't seem that interested at all. I had invested hours and hours and bought new books and dice just for a lame session with half-hearted adventurers who didn't really care. We played another session with very similar results, and so I had to end it. They still ask me once in a while when we're gonna play again. I have already moved on and found a group who is really into playing D&D, and I'm really happy with them. They have a crazy amount of detail in their world, and we all become really close. Now, every time Jay, Sam, or my bro asks about the next session, I tell them, sure, let me know when you're DMing and I'll show up. A lot of people have said I should communicate how I feel, so here are their responses to why I don't want to do it again. Sam said, well, it's all we could do right now, which it isn't true. A wise man once said, no D&D is better than bad D&D. It really does stink because he is really into the idea of playing D&D, and he would be all in if he was there in real life. Jay told me, you're being too hard on people. I told him that was probably true, but I also told him that if I'm gonna sink hours and hours into prepping, that the least they could do was be there. He then told me, I mean, you just bought the book. How hard could it be to prep? That almost made me grind my teeth into fine powder that I would have nearly choked on. Another thing, after D&D, Jay is the kind of guy who thinks, okay, cool, now we get to hang out. I'm a dad, so I'm up at 6 a.m. every day. Boo-hoo, right? But the thing is that he gets to go home and pass out all day, and if we stay up and drink all night, I get to struggle with that sweet, sweet toddler life where my head feels like it's gonna pop. So that's another factor leading me to avoid D&D with this group. Bro and I had a more enlightening conversation. Him and Sam never got along. Too much alpha energy. I'll never understand people like this. And he told me straight up that he doesn't enjoy playing with him, which made sense because I recall the two of them really getting into it at the table once upon a time. But that's a story for another day. So yeah, it might sound nice to play D&D with old friends, but if you are not enjoying yourself, then the DM has no commitment to continue running if they aren't enjoying themselves. I think what OP did is fine. Like he said, if someone else wants to run everything and DM, then he will show up. So the offer is still on the table. What do you all think about this situation?